So you figured out that you're gonna take the path of, yes, I like this. I like these trails. This looks like fun. I feel good after riding these trails. The bike actually did it, I'm surprised. And worrisome enough, I wanna do it more. So here are the things I recommend that you prepare yourself with and equip your bike with when venturing out onto the trails. To me, the top item is going to be the gearing. So your bike just does not have the gearing to make it up these hills. The stock 15 tooth front, 34 tooth rear is a highway gear. That's a neighborhood gear, it's a street gear. So you won't stall out when you go to leave the stoplight and stop sign, but you're not gonna make it up those hills back there unless you have a really good head of steam, which not a lot of people are able to get when you're out on the trails. I suggest a 14 tooth 38 rear, 14 front, 38 rear if you wanna really pull up the hills. If you wanna blend off-roading with street, like dual sporting, a 14-36 will do it. But anything less, in my opinions, you're gonna be burning out your clutch. So ask me how I know, because I think I'm burning out my clutch up here with the 14-36 right now. Whereas the Grom that has the 14-37 that's here with us actually pulls up these hills really nicely. So you put your gears on, got a little bit more pull up those hills. That's where we move on to the tires. So what tires do I use? Basically you have three choices besides the stock tires. Stick with the stock, then you're gonna lose ability to go through mud. You're not gonna go over these rocks as easy. If the rocks are slick, I got bugs flying all over my lens. So if the rocks are slick, you're gonna slip on them. You know, obviously, if you're gonna be in the dirt, you want some dirt tires. So where do we go? So we have the Shinko Mobbers, which is what I have. You have the Maxxis Dual Sport tires that are usually put on Groms. Then you have the Kenda Big Blocks, which are kind of all three dual sport knobby tires that are good for the street. I run the Mobbers, I think they look the best. I've used Maxxis before on a Grom. They work good. They're a really good tire. They just don't look as cool to me. They look really good on the Grom, but not as good on the Monkey. And that's about it. So let's just say we put on the Mobbers. I recommend the Mobbers for anything that's got rocks, mud, and deep stuff. You know, heavy dirt, basically. Run the Maxxis if you're in sandy stuff. Kenda Big Blocks, I've never used. I can't say what they're good at and what they're not good at. So you're gonna wanna make sure that your tires have an adequate amount of air pressure. You're gonna want to run them a little bit lower in air pressure when you're going over these rocky trails. You don't want to get a puncture and you want the tires to form around the rocks. So I recommend 10 to 15 pounds on your tire pressures. So what's the next thing we need? Suspension, definitely suspension. The stock Monkey suspension is made for a 150-pound rider. The rear springs are 75 inch-pounds each, so together they support a 150-pound rider. I don't know anybody that's 150 pounds that is on a Monkey except a couple guys out there that love the stock springs. So you're gonna want some rear shocks. I recommend the TB Parts rear shocks that I have on the bike and I did a review on. They're called the mystery shocks because I don't know what they're called. They're for a CT70 Honda. They're not even for the Monkey, but they work great. They're $100 too for the set. Those are good shocks, soft spring rates, decent ability to dampen. If you want to go heavy big time, go with Öhlins or Racing Bros. If you want to land in the middle of the road, you have Man in the Box and some other options, YSS. Maybe Öhlins makes a cheaper version of their shock without the piggyback. Never tried them, but I can tell you, you want a softer spring rate, but enough to support your weight. So if I'm 200 pounds, then I'm going to choose springs that have a rate of 100 pounds each, which are the mystery shocks like I have. So the other part of the suspension is the front forks. So the front forks on the Monkey and the Grom are terrible. They're okay for the street, but if you take them off-road, you're going to bottom out and it's going to be annoying. So I would definitely suggest the Olin's or the Racing Bros front fork kit, where you replace the springs and the valving on them. That's really going to get you where you need to be with these bikes and firm up the ride enough for you to handle off-road jumps, rocks, logs, dips, and all that stuff. So the other thing that I would recommend is some different handlebars. The stock Monkey handlebars are a little bit close together. They're a little bit high, a little bit hard to steer. The effort's kind of tough if your hands are so close together. So the man-in-the-box bars are a little bit lower of a bend. It's more of a street bar. I would recommend a Pro Taper KLX 110 bar, or any KLX 110 handlebar is going to be an amazing off-road positioning for you on the Monkey. I have them on the Grom, and it's easily the best mod that I've done on that bike. The other thing you want to do when you off-road ride is make sure you keep your air filter clean. So things get dusty, things get dirty, mud gets in there. If you have an aftermarket intake like I do, the man-in-the-box intake, be sure to clean that filter often. And also do yourself a favor and pick up the outerwears filter cover for the man-in-the-box intake, because it's going to shield a lot of that dust and dirt before it ever gets to that paper element. Another item I'd highly recommend is some upgraded foot pegs for the Monkey. These aren't something that's really available, so you have the Two Brothers Racing Grom foot pegs, and that's about it. However, I've been talking to a company called Fastway that's interested in making some foot pegs for the Grom, and I'm going to see if I can't talk them into making some motocross style foot pegs for the Monkey too. But the stock foot pegs, they get a little bit slippery, they're a little soft, and they're really narrow. My American size 12 boots kind of hang off the edge of those foot pegs, and you're not able to really squeeze the tank and keep your legs squeezing the bike like you should with them. Some other items I want to mention, while not critical but are very helpful, the exhaust. If you want to start doing some really rocky stuff, you're going to hit the stock catalytic converter with the rock or a log jump like I do. So I'm okay with that. I don't really care. But if you put a aftermarket exhaust on there without the cat or that under loop on it, like the Yoshimura race system, you're going to avoid a lot of those rock hits. Another good, nice little add-on item is a shifter that has a foldable tip on it. So when you're dipping down low or a rock jumps up and bites that shifter, the tip folds back and gives way before it bends. The stock shifter does not have a foldable tip on it. So if you hit the shifter tip with a rock or a stump, it's going to bend your shifter all out of place. So I like the TB part shifter. It's got a nice classic look to it, and definitely has that foldable tip. It's also very important that you keep a look after all the items on your bike. So vibration is a killer of small bikes. So I actually lost my man-in-the-box seat bolt finished plug kit. One of them just rattled loose and completely fell out somewhere along the trails. So it's always a good idea to go around and check all your bolts and even Loctite some stuff in if you're going to be doing some rocky road riding. Definitely keep that chain waxed, keep it clean. I like the Maxima chain wax, and that's a pretty simple thing right there. Just spray your chain down before you go out riding. Also, I'll point out one thing on my bike that probably isn't a good idea to have when you're trail riding, which is that externally mounted oil cooler that's using the to me the cheap method of distributing oil to the cooler, which is through the channeled head bolt, which sticks scarily close to the front tire. So if a rock comes up and hits that bolt and bends it or breaks that fitting, then your day in the trails is going to be over. So that's something I'll actually be taking off. I don't like that that design, and I'll either plumb that into the side cover, the Kitako side cover, or I'll just take it off completely. But the whole point is just don't have anything that could break easily out on the trails. Another thing that's a good idea is to have a skid plate, maybe. I know there's only one skid plate out there for the Monkey, and it requires a system to go with it. This might be something that I try to make for the Monkey. I'm not sure when I might get to that, but it is something that I think the Monkey needs for off-road riding to block the rocks and things and debris from hitting your motor and exhaust. So those are my items that I feel will help you have more fun out in the woods with your Honda Monkey. Or dual sporting. Dual sporting to me is more adventure riding. That's more riding on the road and then coming across the trail and blasting off and checking it out. So when I say adventure riding, dual sporting, those are interchangeable to me. So that's more like big BMW and KTM stuff like that. To me, this is more just hooning around in the woods with your Honda Monkey, basically. So those are the top items that I think that will help you have more fun hooning around in the woods on your Honda Monkey. If I forgot something, let me know. Let me know what your experiences are out in the woods with your monkey and what you felt was necessary, what you felt was not necessary. And be sure to comment and let me know if you like this by hitting that thumbs up button. And if you enjoy my videos, be sure to subscribe and also hit that notifications bell so you know when I come out with a new one. So signing off here from the New York PA border. Go out and enjoy your Honda Monkey, however it may be. Woods, street, beach, neighborhood, anything. Just have fun with it like I do. See you later.